Hey everybody, welcome back to The Shift. This week's guest is Kerryn Feehan. She's been on twice before I believe, so back now but in the studio, so it's all official.
Yeah.
And you're actually kind of matching the decor,
I know.
the light purple.
And my own nails too.
And it's St. Patrick's week. By the time this comes out, St. Patrick's will be already over, but still, you are a fellow Irish woman.
Oh,
We look a little alike.
yes, especially in that photo you posted.
Yeah, I was just showing a picture to Kerryn on my Instagram feed, but when I posted, I was like, I look like Kerryn Feehan. I was feeling myself.
It's Friday, right?
It's on Friday,
Yeah. I'm going to Florida to be with my family. We're having a party in Florida.
I mean, I definitely think Irish Americans do celebrate it more, which I completely understand because you're not in Ireland,
Right.
so it was more like a day to celebrate like your history and everything. Whereas I was at Megan was on the podcast, but I was at her house near St. Patrick's
Megan
Day,
Hanley?
Hanley.
Yeah.
We were doing a gig out, so we stopped off by her parents' house, and even their towels in the bathroom had shamrocks on it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that blew my mind.
Right? My
I've
mom
never seen
goes
that in
nuts.
Ireland.
My mom goes crazy. It looks like a leprechaun threw up in our living room. She loves it. She can't get enough.
So funny.
Yeah, it's so cute. And I'm always talking. I have this dog mom cult that I'm a part of. And one of them is this older Jewish lady, but we're always chatting, and she knows that I'm Irish, and my mom loves St. Patrick's Day, so she made my mother a fascinator, like a hat, like with like a mesh green and a little there's like a bird on it, and then she made me like a hat, like a full-on green hat with like sparkles. It lights up with like a little switch.
Will you take a picture of that and send it to me so that I can post it with this episode?
Absolutely. We're going and we're going to have a party. I'm so sad my sister can't make it, but my parents and my brother and his wife and their kids were all going to be in Florida in this house that we rented.
And so is St. Patrick's Day the day of the year where you guys all meet up?
We try to every year.
That's
It doesn't
amazing.
always happen, but we try, My mom always has a party and she makes her Irish soda bread.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. The first time I had Irish soda bread here, I was like, that
This
is
isn't
not
it. This
the
isn't
soda
it.
bread that I grew up with. It was lovely and sweet, but I was like, it was so sweet and had like cranberries in it or something. I was
They
like,
shove raisins in there.
I was
and,
like, this is the
nuts.
American twist on it to make it
Totally.
much sweeter. Whereas I was just looking for like regular brown bread, but also maybe, I don't know, maybe where I grew up, it's specifically just this like brown bread with butter. We would always call that soda bread.
Right.
I wasn't expecting a cake.
Yeah. Americans are like, how do we make this more dessert-like? How can we make this unhealthy?
Yeah. So Irish American. So wait, what was the question I was going to ask you about St. Patrick's Day? I can't remember. Oh, something about being. What generation Irish are you?
So my grandparents, their parents were from Ireland.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah,
So your grandparents.
My great grandparents were
Great-grandparents,
from
yeah.
Ireland. Yeah,
So so that'd
County
be like,
Mayo, County Cork. My grandfather's father, he talked about a lot. He was a fisherman in Ireland. And then, they came over here and then lived through the Depression and then had 6 kids somehow.
That's so sad that you came from a depressing country to live through the Depression here.
Totally.
Have so many kids, keeping it Irish.
It's so Irish. My mother's parents, her last name was Houlihan. And then my grandfather, they were all Powers, but they were probably like Powers or something like that. It was probably Houlihan too.
Yeah.
And then my dad is Feehan.
Yeah.
So that's where.
And Feehan, I think, is a really cool name. It reminds me of like the folklore. I just did an episode about this, but it was a Zoom episode, but about this, like the Fenians. They were like these cool, badass army with like magic and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I think the magic part is not true, but that's part of the folklore.
I love folklore.
But yeah, they were like this one of the pre-British armies that fought in Ireland, back in the day when we were Celtic and pagan.
Got it.
Yeah,
Pagan.
and had stones.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking with this podcast, what I really wanted to do was ask people there. I know. I'm trying to like be more like
so mysterious.
I know. Try to be more segmented, but because I never do, and it's fine. Like the episodes are grand. We always go off like on the
tangent,
chats, which is totally fine. But I thought with you, and especially since you've been on twice already, I wanted to do a segment where we ask the guests their icks.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, great.
Yes.
What are your icks?
Oh my God, I have so many.
Brilliant.
Close talkers is one. Close talkers and people who don't understand body language in general. And, it's typically men. I feel like women are very aware of their space that they take up and how they're making other people feel when they're in their space.
Yeah.
Whereas men, I think, are so in their own head and are like, I'm welcome everywhere.
Yeah.
I belong in your bubble. That's one. What gives me the ick? You might not like this, but men who like cats.
So my boyfriend.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily, okay, you can like cats, but if you're a man who doesn't like dogs, let me rephrase. If you don't like dogs, I think it's a very emasculine trait, and I've been running into it a lot lately.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, because you probably see as well a lot of male guests come to your podcast and get freaked out by the dog.
Yeah, and my dog she's a big lab, but she's pretty, she might jump on you, but she's not really like, she's a puppy. She's almost like 2 years old, so... But she is not near, like, she's not biting you or peeing on you or like licking your face incessantly. And I have her pretty well under control. If I need to put her in my room, I'll put her in my room. But yeah, in general, if you're a grown man and you're like, I don't like dogs, like, I just find it to be the most beta cuck personality trait on the planet.
Yeah. My boyfriend likes dogs.
I know.
He is a beta, but not a cuck yet. We're getting a King Charles.
That's a great little dog.
Feels like a beta guy dog.
It is, but they're great little dogs. They have great personalities. They're the
100%.
sweetest. They really are.
They just come up and they're like, hello.
They're like, hi, with their big eyeballs.
Calm energy. No, I understand what you're saying. I do think city guys, though, they don't maybe grow up around big dogs.
Sure.
So, like, I'm picturing like a countryman for you.
Oh, I love, a big dude. Like, and I mean, like, when you meet and see my dog, like, I want your face in my dog's face. I want you wrestling with my dog, like, right away. Like, that's the vibe I'm looking for. And I think you're right. City guys come in and they're like, these are my new Nikes. Oh, my skinny jeans. What if I get dog hair? And I'm like, get out.
What if I get a fourth rip that was not intentional?
Exactly. I'm just like, yuck.
When you said as well about the face talkers, I am going to put the link to this girl in the description because I forget her name. She's an Irish woman, but she did this great video. Actually, I was about to say another Feehan, but she's a Feenie. Jess Feenie just sent me the video, but it's of an Irish woman doing an impression of Irish men when they chat you up at a bar. They're like, she's like right up in your face. Yeah. And then, you would hate all drunk Irish guys because they're right up in your face.
I think that has to do with me not drinking anymore too. Why? I'm very sensitive to it. I think I used to not be. And now I'm like, if a particle of your saliva lands on my face, I will vomit. Like, I just can't.
Do you think that's post-pandemic as well? Like, we're all very aware of germs now?
Totally.
Because I used to be like, I would hug everybody and touch everybody.
Now it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, especially where I was given that space. Not even that space, but the first time where people was like, oh, maybe you shouldn't. So I was like, oh, yeah, I shouldn't, to be respectful. But then I was like, I don't have to do this. Like, I was brought up to be really like, oh, like, I should be really polite and make everybody comfortable, which is such like a woman thing. And now I'm like, I don't have to. And now I go to the comedy club and sometimes like, if a guy goes to hug me and I'm like, oh, nice to, and I pull back a little bit.
Put your hand out.
Yeah, they're like,
offended.
You can see that they're insulted.
Absolutely.
And it's like, you're not.
Who cares?
We're actually not that
but
close.
Some men don't know how to hug.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm a grown woman. I probably have makeup on, right? Especially if I'm working at a comedy club. And men will grab and hug you and smush your face into their chest and like mess up your mascara or mess up your blush with just like no care in the world. I'm a big handshaker too. Even if I've known you for years, if I'm walking in and I haven't seen you in a while, I love a handshake. Give me a handshake, buddy. And guys, they will verbalize it. They'll be like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I get to touch you.
Yeah, yes.
Why are you giving me your hand? I'm a man. I get to touch your stupid little body. It's like, no, not every time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so strange. It is a strange entitlement, and it goes back to the thing where men automatically, and obviously not all men, but a lot of them feel like they're owed that space. Or even when I've worked in bars, it'd be always like, and I definitely think like with Irish men, yes, they might be up in your face, but they are quieter. They're maybe like loud when they're drunk, but they're not the same as what I've seen with like American men where they're so loud during the daytime.
Oh, God.
And I would daytime bartend, but it was like they needed everybody to hear that story in the whole bar, if that makes sense.
Totally.
And just like very taking up space and taking up chairs.
The guy in the airport on the phone, like selling stocks, like, we don't need to hear your every move, Daniel. We don't fucking, I wasn't invited to this meeting. Shut the fuck up.
Even my boyfriend is way quieter. Like, he's technically a quiet person. He's very introverted.
Technically.
You know, like, but
I
I
have
mean,
him on quiet mode.
yeah,
Technically a quiet person.
like in America.
Right.
But, you know, then my sister was over and he was just talking to her and I could see her like face going a little red because we always have to talk like this in public, okay? Because we can never have any, like, ever be, I don't know, it's like embarrassing for other people to hear your conversation.
Sure.
And I could see that she was just like, he was just like, and then we're going over there. And she's like, okay, we're going over there.
I know.
And I was like, I guess he is loud. He's quiet for Americans, but loud for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the hugging thing. What was the other one as well that you said about? Oh, you know as well, they don't know their strength. So they squeeze the shit out of you.
Oh my God, my ribs. Like the hugging, like, or picking me up.
Why are you picking me up?
Oh my God.
I want to be on land. Why would you just elevate me and put me somewhere else? You just stole me from a place and put me in a different place.
This is kidnapping.
It's they do that all the time.
Just kidnapped me from one corner of the room to the other.
There's a comedian, and he'll never listen to this, but he does that a lot to me, and he has an interesting way about him because he like slapped one of the girls' arses, but she looked like uncomfortable, and I was also drunk at the time, but I was just like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And then there was like two other female comics and we were like, do you want us to say something?
Right.
And then he came out of nowhere because he blamed it on someone else. He was like, oh, that's such and such. And then he was like, oh, it was actually me. And we're like, that doesn't mean it's okay.
Right.
And he was like, no, but we're like, we have that type of friendship. And I was like, but she looked uncomfortable.
Right.
And then he was us talking, so he kept getting louder and louder and louder. And he was like, no, it's okay. And it was like very confusing because it's like, now you're getting louder, so she doesn't have a chance to say, actually, maybe I don't like that. Or even a chance to say, no, it's okay, I do, it's fine.
Right. She could have agreed with you if you just stopped talking for 1 second.
But it was like that entitlement, oh, I'm allowed to do that.
Yep.
It's like, oh, we still have the same opinion. It doesn't matter if it was you or him or it was it's a strange thing.
Physical touch is like, you know, it's an intimate and can be intense and like vulnerable part of life. And like some people are like very conscious of it and like make you feel good with their touch. And I've even like guys who I've even like been attracted to and like sort of hooked up with, like one guy would always like go and like stick his fingers in my side, like near my ribs, as like that was him showing affection. And I was like, I want to cut your hand off. This is terrible. Yes. Would you like, I did it to him once and he was like, ow. I was like, what do you think it feels like for me?
And it's like, I've even had like not straight guys do it. So like where it's like they think because I'm a woman, like it's okay and like grab me in places. But I'm like, no, it's still not
my
okay.
body. It's still my body.
Yeah, I remember one stage there was one of the guys who's not straight, but he was like leaning so hard on me. And A, I don't know him that well. And B, why do you think it's okay that I'm your leaning post?
Right.
I'm not a wall.
Get off me.
Yeah, and then I kind of moved like that. And he was like, oh, am I hurting you? And I was like, yeah, can you just not do this? And he was like, oh, sorry, babe. And I was just kind of like, it's just funny because it's not just straight men. I've noticed.
No.
Yeah, I've never had a woman invade my space like that. And I feel like when women go to hug, it's a slow.
It is.
We're coming. There's a chance to say no.
Yes, it's very slow, and it's like, am I going up? Are you going down? Are we? What is our height difference? Like, because sometimes it's like a medium height girl is used to going under because she's like maybe mostly hugging guys, but like with me, I'm like that's not gonna work. I'm too little. I have to go under. You have to go high.
And I feel like we hug like this, like men
or side hug. Sure.
Men will always like say to me, "Oh, you can't hug. You're not able to hug properly." 100%.
All I get is a side hug.
That's like,
get out of here, dude.
Yes.
Get out of here.
Okay. I think the slap and arse thing too should be unacceptable.
Yeah.
And I think, there's so many things as well, like with comedy. So for any listeners, I feel like in like an office job, there's a lot of stuff that would just never happen.
Right.
And
we have
then,
no
like,
HR.
Yeah, it's very like hospitality in a way. Like hospitality stuff would slide all the time.
Sure. That
I probably then let in comedy slide, but now that I'm older, I'm like, no, that's not okay. Like the slapping. Oh, the other night I was doing a show and this guy, I just think this is really unprofessional. Okay, so he followed me on 3 shows, and each show I was having so much. I was like, you know, it's your night. You're having so much fun with the audience. I was connecting with them. I was having a great time. And my last joke on the first show was a stolen land joke. It wasn't even about, I wasn't talking about my vagina.
Okay.
And the comic got up and was like, hearing that Irish accent talk about her vagina, which I wasn't, makes me think.
Even if you were.
Yeah. don't mention my vagina,
Right.
creep.
It's not. Is this your bit? Jerk
Yeah,
off. Do your own material, you fucking loser. Oh my god!
And the audience,
you hack loser.
and the audience didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, so they just stared at him. Plus, they liked me, so
Right.
it's like they're not on your side with this.
You're
so
just
then,
digging a hole for yourself.
Exactly. Then he went into his regular jokes, and he's a great comic.
Yeah.
He had a really fun set after that. I mean, I don't know. I stayed for 1 minute because I was just like, what the fuck? And then I went, I had another show. I come back. He's then following me again on that show. And having not learned, because the confidence of men,
no way.
Instead, he changes it and goes, oh, that Lucky Charms shit. And again, people just stare. And then he went into his jokes. And then on the third show, we're at a different club. And it just happens that he's following me again. He said that Lucky Charms shit again. And again, they were just like,
how are you going to bomb 3 times with this improv thing that's not working?
And then his material is great. So then he just, and as soon as he went into his material, he was like, oh, you guys are fun. And it's like, oh, yeah, they weren't fun because you haven't.
No.
The very first minute, because you're like, also, it's Lucky Charm shit is the hackiest
It's the hackiest shit I've ever heard. A. B. First of all, there's typically. There's a separation between the comic who went before you because there's a host, right?
Exactly.
So asking the audience, this is just basic comedy one-on-one, to refer back to the comic who was before even the host is asking a lot. Your shit better be good. I've rarely done it, but if I've ever referred to a comic that's gone on before me, it's been very specific and you got to make it hit. Also, you're right. The audience typically isn't going to be on your side if you're taking shots at your colleague, sort of.
Yeah, and especially if they like the colleague. It's not like the colleague got up and roasted the audience.
Right.
And I'm like, to them, I seem like a little girl.
Exactly. Like, why are you...
I'm the little girl bouncing around the stage, being like, I hope you guys are having a great night. I love you guys so much. If anything, it's like, know your fucking
know the vibe. Stuff works with me, especially if I'm hosting Frantic, because I'm typically doing a lot of crowd work. And so, I mean, Sean Patton will come up. I'll bring Sean Patton up, and he'll people will take shots, and but it's funny. It always hits because I'm very raw and mean, and they're like, okay, yeah, she's a bitch, fuck her.
yeah, they're having fun with it.
You gotta read the tone of the room, though.
Yeah, and as well, just to mention the vagina, that's where I come back with the unprofessional thing. Like, I don't know you don't know my vagina. Let's not compare it to a marshmallow.
Right.
Yeah, so many levels, and it was just very I was like, wow, our career is a bit fucked.
Yeah.
It's a bit fucked.
It is, because there's it's tricky, because if you ever say anything or mention anything, all of a sudden you're a woke liberal baby or whatever it is. Like, you're too sensitive and this and that. So you are kind of pigeonholed. You have to just take some shit.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not gonna it's not like I'm not gonna never. If I see that guy, I'll be polite and stuff like that. Yeah, of course. But I am
if you
just
get an opportunity, he's not on your list of people that you're gonna help.
Exactly. I mean, he wouldn't. He's so he thinks he's anyway. He has he thinks he's already made it.
Yeah.
You know.
I love those guys.
But yeah,
fucking 8,000 followers, and they get online hey guys, what up, fam? Shut up.
No, but it was an interesting moment where I was like, yeah, I mean if in an office job they wouldn't talk about my, but also I just didn't talk about my vagina. But then the other thing, what you're saying about how, because women, it's hard, I feel like, even for the listeners to explain, because there just aren't as many women comics.
Right.
So I do know it's easy for me to generalize with men, and it just happens that sometimes I will be the only woman on a show, not all the time, but usually if I am, a woman isn't following me, or I'm not following a woman.
Right.
So I haven't experienced, but I think women just go into their set. They do their bits, they kill. Yeah. They're not really messing about. No. Whereas men will spend 2 minutes talking about you. And I've had another comic get up and be like, because you know me from years ago, I used to talk really fast, and I was like, blah, 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 blah. And I've really worked on
really slowed down.
Slowing down, controlling that. Yeah. It's a fucking disease. And so he gets up and he goes, so everybody was kind of bombing on this show, but because they were bombing with their regular material, this audience was having none of it, and they were kind of a lot of foreigners, and I had to run new material for a show that I'd said I'd headline, but I'd already been there a few months previous. So I was kind of so I got up and I told them that I was like, oh, I totally fucked myself over. I double booked this, and I need new material. Do you mind if I kind of run through some stories? And they were like, yes. Right. They were totally in it. They were having fun. And I was literally workshopping with them. Yeah. So I had a great time. Yeah. Then this comic gets on, and I don't know if he felt a bit in his head about it or something, but he got on and he was like, Katie's not hyperactive anymore. Wow, she really slowed down. They don't know me. They were like,
Who are these people taking these shots at you, Katie Boyle? I'm going to fist fight all of them.
Yeah, my friend Shauna was like, I voicemailed her and she was like, my friend Shauna is like, she's like a workout person. She's like, I can't wait to come over and fight some people.
I will. I just took a very hard workout class. I'll fucking fist fight anyone.
But I just think it's like maybe they're trying to be funny, but it doesn't.
If you need to refer to the comic before you set, you're weak. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Just do your shit.
Just do your shit.
Just do your shit.
But yeah, so that's an ick of mine.
Yeah, for sure. They were probably jealous that you were working on new material and it was going well.
Yeah. I honestly think that for the audience, they were just not relating to people running their stuff or whatever. Right. So it was just one of those, like, it worked out really well. They wanted
some raw stuff.
Yeah, they were fun. They just, I think they were also just, it was like a Thursday. Yeah. But yeah, so that's an ick. But anyway.
This is fun. I want to think about
what
more
are other icks. I get really, if I get the ick, I get, like, I just can't be with the person, and it could be over little things. I remember I was dating this guy back in Ireland, and he was gorgeous. Mm-hmm. He was like I can't say what, because fucking Irish people listen to this and they'll know who it is. But let's just say he was fit, like ripped for like his job. Okay, I'm really, they're like, Katie, you're not good with these, because now we know who it is. But he, one time in the car, did this weird noise thing where he was like it's something about where we were going somewhere, and he was like, I can't wait, and I don't know what the like high pitched like noise, and then he kept doing it where he'd be like, I can't even remember exactly, but I remember being like, this isn't gonna work out.
I know. It's so crazy how they can just do one thing and you can just like flip. I was like in the middle of making love with this guy, and maybe I like gave myself the ick, but he was like going down on me, and then he like came up to kiss me like in the middle of it, and I don't know, I don't like that. I feel like
this is your Irishness coming out.
Oh, my Irishness coming out.
You're like, this is too intimate.
I didn't like I could like see like my stuff like on his face, and I just, it really like grossed me out, which is, I guess I'm just finding myself disgusting, but I couldn't get past it.
No, I think that's a very Irish thing. I think most Irish women would be like that. And then I think as well,
just like keep it separate.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been there, and I do not. And then men are like weird about it. Oh, you don't want to taste yourself? And I'm like, no. Why would I want to?
Right.
I used to say, like, I used to be like, oh, I used to think it was like, oh yeah, it should be hot. But the older I've gotten turned off it. I don't know why. I think when I was younger and I was all like sex crazed, I'd be like, sure. But then it'd be like after, not in, because the thing is, if you stop in between, then we're restarting the clock.
We are restarting the clock. I was like, let me have a friggin' orgasm, and then I guess we can make out. But give me a minute.
No,
I feel like it starts with the makeup. Stops changing things around.
I hate when they change things around as well. Like, I can get like the ick during sex too, actually, you know, where it's like if they're like doing something and it annoys me, it's all very quickly I can get like, I don't want to have sex anymore.
Same.
And I have to like get out of my head with that, but I'm just like, why is he kissing my boob all of a sudden?
Right. Why isn't he doing this? Like, why is he doing that? Like, why is he so up in my neck so much? Like, why can't we connect in a way where we're like looking at each other? Like, I feel like, I don't know, why is he burrowing? It's so many different things.
It's hard because I think the guys where you can connect, like where it's like you're in your eyes, you're kissing, you're going the right moves. They're like the worst pieces of shit in the world.
I know, but they're good at that stuff.
Yeah, they won't like, call you for days. But they're
in professional
sync.
Lovers. Yes. The guys who pay attention to your face and genuinely look for reactions while they're doing whatever they're doing, hopefully stimulating your clitoris. But if they're actually genuinely like checking in and being like, is she like this? Like verbalizing it, is this good? Like, mwah, love you guys. The guys that are just such crazed animals, and first of all, so about their own orgasm. This is an ick. I had sex with this guy one time. His eyes were shut. Like, he was so into his own orgasm and like his own performance. His eyes were literally shut, like while he was on top of me thrusting. And I was like, hello.
Yeah, I am still here.
I am here.
I don't like the eyes shut either.
I'm like, I want the guy to have pleasure. It turns me on when a guy's like, oh my God, this is so fucking hot. I'm like, yeah, I'm so fucking hot. But if you're disconnecting, And having pleasure, it makes me feel like this could be any hole. This could be any person.
Yeah. No, 100%. It is a bit like, what are you thinking about? Which, like, look, I'm all for, like, if you're in a long-term relationship and you need to think about something else sometimes. You know,
Sure.
you're thinking about a bit of group sex, but you can think and look.
You can.
You can think and look.
You can do it.
Yeah, like my boyfriend says stuff like he'll imagine like some wild stuff going on with me. And I'm like, good that it's imagining, because I don't think we can ever do that.
I love that. Yeah, that same guy, he gave me the ick pretty quickly, and I liked him at first. But he was just like an insomniac alcoholic who like couldn't, and like I don't drink, and he just like couldn't stop drinking, and also like never went to bed. I was like, if I didn't like tell this guy it's bedtime, like I don't know if he would ever go to bed. Yeah. It was like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'm just like, ugh.
No, was he younger?
No, older.
Then if he's even
help.
older, yeah, no, he needs help.
He needs therapy.
No, yeah.
He knows. He better.
Ooh, yeah, that's like...
The other thing that'll give me the ick, negative self-talk. If you're always shitting on yourself, I can't be around that either.
No, I think as well that a lot of guys will do that. They'll get in a relationship with a woman and then all of a sudden they're like, here is all of my trauma, or here's all the things I feel bad about myself, and you're in this role to make them feel better.
It's fucked up.
And they usually do that as well when you're not in a relationship.
Sure.
That reminds me of this guy I was dating. We were seeing each other like 5 times a week. He even got Irish tea for his apartment and got me a toothbrush.
Cute.
All these things that to me, we were exclusive as in not having sex with other people, but men
Didn't
have taught
have the
me
label
since,
of-
that doesn't mean a relationship.
Oh my God.
I know. But he would like, you know, needed a lot of reassurance too in that regard. And it's like, now that I'm older, I'm like, oh my God, if that was like my sister, I'd be like, that's not your job.
Right.
And even if you're in a relationship, that's not your job. My boyfriend doesn't do that at all. I mean, he has the odd... And I mean, I have to be like, are you okay? What's going on? And he'd be just like, yeah, just a bit stressed about stuff right now. And I'd be like, do you want to talk? Oh, but other than that, that's like, I can't even remember the last time he did that. Maybe I should ask him how he's doing.
You're so funny.
But this guy, oh my God, this is what gives me the ick that this guy did. He would get drunk and he would get so emotional, but it was like narcissist emotional. And I can't remember, I probably talked about this on the podcast years ago, so for long-time listeners, sorry, but refresher. Trump was getting into presidency. No, it wasn't the first time. Did Trump get in twice? No, this is before, this is the second time when he was trying to get into it. And this guy got so drunk and he was just very like emotional, and he was like, if my state votes... And he said he would like commit suicide. And I was like, why? And he was like, because then they would know that they shouldn't have voted for him. But I was like, this is like a very unhealthy thing to even like talk, like to mention.
Yeah.
And I don't like when people throw around that when it's not.
First of all, you assuming that your state is going to care that you kill yourself is hilarious.
Like, yeah, it's very like.
Especially if it's Florida.
No, and it wasn't even, it was a blue state. So I was like, what are you talking about? You know you're fine. This is a false threat.
Yeah.
They're not going to, but it was just like a weird thing because it's like, I don't like when people like use that as a thing. I don't know. What was the other? Oh, and then he started going, well, I just want to go back to my state one day and really help like in my town. And I want to like build like a park that people can go to. But then his town was like this very nice, like suburban town that doesn't really need your help. It was just like a
people
strange...
invent struggles for themselves.
Yeah. Like firstly, you think that the whole world is going to be like this guy, this random guy that nobody knows about. That's not going to stop Trump getting into presidency, you know? And then secondly, going on about how he can't wait to go back. Like you think you're so important that you're going to go back and change your town. And also as well, you're just doing it. Right now you're jerking off on the idea of you being. So that sort of level of narcissism was just like, it's a real deep ick. That was the thing that I was like, yeah, I should stop being a girlfriend without the girlfriend.
Right. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good ick. I'm trying to think. We're like, where I feel like I have like female like things that women do that give me the ick too. I'm just trying to think. I know they're out there.
I've had like toxic boyfriends, and then I stopped that and tried to date nice guys. But then unfortunately, I got toxic friends, and then I have been in therapy, and therapy's been amazing. It's really helped me just like be alone and not try to help everybody. My therapist was like, "You have like save your fantasies because you weren't saved." And I'm like,
whoa.
Yeah, but it is. I would always try to overhelp, and then I would be exhausted. And then when I would try to put boundaries, then the people would get mad at me that I'm not at their disposable or just
that you weren't at their disposal.
Yeah. So I've now the last few months has been great. Like
Yeah.
literally since October, I've really put in check. And anybody who's tried to like do, I'd be like, no boundaries.
I love a
My
boundary.
friend got me hoop earrings. It's very cool. I just haven't worn them yet, but I'm on a journey. They're love big.
I have like similar too, because and I can think of like specific people. Like I, struggled with alcoholism and addiction and stuff, but it's been it'll be 5 years in May. So I've been like, feel good about myself. So sometimes I do, but I'm very open about that past struggle. So sometimes I do attract people that are going through that struggle that look to me for help. And I'm pretty good. Like I can be generous with my time if you're authentic and generous with like, I need to help myself. So like, and I'm lost.
Yeah.
And my thing is like, God helps those who help themselves. So I'll help you. Like I'll give you a guest pass to my gym. Like you can come, we'll have lunch. Like I will spend a morning with you. I will show you this life that I have made for myself now, mostly because I quit drinking. But if you don't take your own steps and like build on what I'm giving you, then I can't just keep spoon feeding you and like babying you. If I see that you're not taking any initiative whatsoever, you're going to give me the ick.
Yeah.
And I just, because like you said, it's draining. It's like there's a difference between a symbiotic relationship where somebody's going through something and you have this ability to help them and be like, come share the space, time, energy, fucking fitness shit with me. Yeah. And then you get stuff back, whether it's gratitude or seeing somebody succeed and like doing well, like that makes me feel good. Like that's the symbioticness of it. But if it's always take, you gotta, and I've had to, and it's a bummer. And people who you put boundaries up with don't respect boundaries sometimes.
Yeah, and I've had people, I had one friend where I put a boundary and they were like, oh my God, I need to do some work on myself. And, came back to me and was like, I really was expecting too much and I just wanted to give you your space. I hope it didn't feel like I just totally disappeared. And I was like, oh no, this is great to hear. And I actually needed that space. So thank you. And that's someone I do think if it's like kind, good people who sometimes don't realize they're overstepping will kind of check themselves. But then a lot of people, you'll put up a boundary and they get mad at you for it because it's like the relationship wasn't equal. Right. And all of a sudden you're bringing yourself up to equal and now they're like pissed that they can't control you. You're not under their thumb. Right. And I think an ick for me is I see sometimes when and sometimes people are going through a bad
spell,
like mental health thing.
Sure.
But for me personally, I can't be in the mix when it's like the toxic mental health because it reminds me too much of my mother. But I start to see with some people, or some people even I just talk to, I can sense it sometimes, if that makes sense. But there was, my mother would do this thing where her eye would twitch and she would like lick her lips before she would get mad. And there was this person in my life who was starting to get very toxic, but then they started and expecting a lot from me and like getting in really in my space and like turning up to everywhere I was, and then all of a sudden then their eyes started twitching and they started licking their lips and I was put back in that. And I remember being so I don't know if it's like an ick or like a trigger but I was like back with my boyfriend being like I can't even look at this person right now because it's putting me back to like when I was a kid. And
you have to protect your energy.
Yeah, it is wild though how it's interesting how there's like those little things that can send you back or even like little reminders of like the things that people do, like what you said with the guys being up close can remind you of being back in a bar and drinking.
I mean he might listen to this, I hope not, but I have she's a great friend of mine, and we're new friends and I love her, I adore her, I respect her. One of the hardest working women I've ever met. I love seeing her. Like you genuinely see someone, you're like, I love seeing you. You're fun to be around. I feel the exact opposite way about her husband. Okay. And there's other men in this friend group, like it's all women, and they have partners, some of these women, and their men are very respectful, like they're men, like their husbands or boyfriends or partners. They don't really infiltrate it's because it's a female friend group. Yeah. They have their space. We know who they are. They're gentlemen. They're super nice, respectful, etc. This one specific dude needs everybody's phone number, needs to be texting people and sending Instagrams and sending TikToks. And what are you doing? And I want to do this with you. Can I come here? Can I do this? And I'm not even getting into all of it. That's like the surface. Because this is one person who's giving me the ick. And I blocked him on text. haven't blocked him yet on Instagram. But it's pretty hilarious because he doesn't realize I've blocked him. So we'll be in a public setting with these other women that I'm friends with, and he's like, Kerryn, I'm just on your list of people you don't text back, huh? And one other woman knows that I've blocked him. And we were texting the other day. I was like, it's like we were on an episode of The Office. Like, he said that, and her and I both looked at each other. It was like we were looking at camera. Like, but he's just an individual who really doesn't understand, does not pick up social cues whatsoever.
Yeah, I would, that would give me the ick as well, I think, as well, especially if my boyfriend was all of a sudden texting all my girlfriends, when that's like an escape from our, like, I love our relationship, but he has his friends, I have my friends, and we come together grand, but I don't want, I don't think we should have we need to have spaces outside of each other.
Of course. Like,
especially girl spaces.
Of course. Like, I cannot agree more. And he just sort of paints himself and comes across as like, like beta, like I'm a fan of things that girls are fans of. I'm straight, but I like all the things that girls like. It's like, don't. Yeah. How about don't? How about get some guy friends and get out of here?
Or get separate girlfriends. You know, my boyfriend, he has, because he's actually quite like, he's young.
Yeah.
So those younger lads like...
You're a cradle robber.
I am. They like get on better with women, and they're more respectful. That generation. I think we're technically the same generation, but he's like 5 years younger. And so he has girlfriends. I don't like, I wouldn't vibe with them on a one-on-one, and that's totally fine. He's like, has like his group of friends. But yeah, if you're a guy who gets on better with women, have your own women friends.
Sure. Don't come and like try to infiltrate. Yeah. It's so, because my problem is now it's making me dislike her.
It feels controlling. It feels like he's not letting her have a space.
Oh, yeah. They have a lot of problems.
Because as well, he's probably like, oh, I don't want her to talk about me.
There's a lot of, I don't want them to like know I'm talking about them this much, but like they have a lot of problems.
Yeah, that's hard.
I just agree. Like, my thing is like, if I'm dating a guy, of course I want him to like be friends with my friends and like meet everybody, but I don't see why he would need their phone numbers unless it was my best friend for like an emergency contact situation. I don't see why you would need to be texting my friends.
I think as well, it's a very what's that word, like a small line or something.
Yeah, fine line.
Fine line. Yeah. Thank you. I have not eaten yet. My stomach is rumbling. This is really early for me. I only had to do it early because I have to go fucking listen to the album. I don't usually wake up until like 20 minutes, like 1:30 or something. I know, I'm so bad.
I'm thinking like about like then there's like guys like like Micah's boyfriend Tim, for example. Yeah. Like, he's in my phone. Tim will like hang stuff for me and like do work for me. If I was ever in like a bind, I feel like he's almost feels like brother-in-law to me because I'm so close with Micah. And I think those relationships are awesome and healthy and good and normal and nothing weird at all. Yeah. So I don't want to paint every man as a weirdo, but like,
and I do feel like
sometimes it's like, dude.
But I also feel like that grew out over time. Like, I know when my boyfriend meets one of my friends, and I think she's been on the podcast before, Shada. She's like a younger comic. But every time they meet, they know each other outside of our relationship, and they know each other because of our relationship. And they'll be like in the corner having the chats, having the crack. Right. But he's not like texting her all the time. But I love that they have like a healthy relationship. Totally. And it's like, it's not that built over time.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I do feel sorry for your friend.
Yeah, it's just, I hope he doesn't listen to this.
I can't think it's the same now, but he probably will listen to this, but
I just have I like spent like a whole blowout one time talking about him, and it's because I like her so much, and I just truly want the best for her, but I respect people's relationships. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, so I'm certainly not offering my opinion unless it's asked.
It's hard too, because you'll see people in relationships, like I have a friend, and they'll say like this, I'm not even going to say what gender, they'll say.
Smart. You're going to do it.
I hate getting in trouble. But they'll come to me with like the craziest stories. But also they've been coming with the craziest stories for a while that I kind of know they're not going to break up. This person just needs to vent.
Right.
And if they're able to deal with it, fine.
Exactly.
You know, I wouldn't be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the healthiest, but then whatever this person fulfills, they obviously aren't getting to tell me all the good stuff, because by the time they're finished with all the bad stuff, it's time to go.
Yep.
And but they're staying with them.
Right.
So yeah.
And then if you become the type of person that, like inserts yourself into their relation. You're the bad guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you're right. We only tell our friends the bad stuff. We only call our friends. We're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then the next thing you know, like, oh, he did something good, and now we're fine.
Yeah. And you don't know, like you don't know what need they're feeling. So, or maybe you know that there's stuff about yourself that another person won't like. Maybe you're also doing stuff that this person accepts that you. Yeah. So maybe I feel like two things. One thing is when your friend is always venting about that stuff, what I'll do is I'll just be like, I'll be like, okay, well, maybe give yourself a few months and maybe put in some like plans. And if by 6 months you're still upset about this, so that way it's not like break up with them right now.
Right.
But also like you've been upset about this for a while. So maybe, and then I'm always like, have you talked to your therapist?
Yeah. Have you talked to your professional with a license? I don't have one.
Yeah. And then the other thing too with my boyfriend, the reason why this relationship has been my most successful is I don't go to anybody, like only like maybe stuff with like my friend who is a nutritionist, and I know my boyfriend was like struggling with his weight, so I asked her for advice. But other than that, I don't go with any of the stuff. I'll say it directly to him. Yeah. So because I feel like when you go to your friends, you're going with just your side of the situation.
Right. And they're going to fuel your fire.
They fuel you. And then you come back and you're like,
fuck you.
And then they're like, what?
Right. Like there's definitely those friends that can get you even more riled up. And they have good intentions. They just want the best for you. So if they hear like, oh, so-and-so is doing this to hurt me, their response is probably going to be like, well, fuck them. Protect yourself. I love you. Like, don't let yourself be treated this way. When in reality, like you said, there might be a few details you're leaving out to make the story sound a certain way. I know I'm guilty of doing stuff like that.
Of course, you can't even see though.
Yeah.
Their side. I am going to check the clock to cut this part out because I'm going to keep this just for the Patreon. 45:53. That's just for the Patreons. Well, I found this a while ago on Reddit, but I like these Reddit dating advice. They're really funny. Okay, so let's see what you think about this. 19-year-old guy showed up with flowers to my job for Valentine's Day. So, and she's 28, so this is a little while ago. But anyway, I am a woman and he is a client of mine. Already bad. A few months ago, I met him on a work and I was like looking shit. I didn't wear makeup. And then he showed up a few more times. I thought he was my age and then he told me he was 19. I'm almost 30. And then on Valentine's Day, he showed up with roses and my favorite Starbucks drink. I wasn't wearing any makeup and I felt like shit again. I guess he paid attention to my drink of choice. Pause. I think that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That anybody would know your drink of choice.
100%.
Yeah.
That you're not dating?
Yeah, I think that's, he paid attention. What, he stalked?
When? Where?
Yeah, how does he know it's in a cup like this? That's very weird.
Yes.
And then he oh wait, I always have it by my desk. He said it was a thank you note for helping him with some matters related to his university. I feel like there's a power play here if you're helping him with university.
Yeah.
And then basically said she was very red, her coworkers are there, but she doesn't know what to do, and I'm not sure if I should go on the date. I don't want to raise his hopes, but at the same time I haven't been on a date in a really long time, but I don't want to be a creep either.
No, yeah.
So she's considering this date.
She just wants the attention. Get it somewhere else, babe.
I mean, it's 11. If it was role, or I guess it's 10 years because she's 29, he's 19. If it was roles reversed, I'd be going no.
I mean, but it would happen. It could happen.
Oh, that's true. It would happen.
Yeah,
they would 100%. They'd already be on the date. They'd be on the date right now.
Right, like Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just I think women mature emotionally faster than men. Mm-hmm. So I think it would probably be hard to grow with somebody who's so far behind you. I think she likes the attention. She did say her cheeks got red. She's probably flattered. There's nothing wrong with being flattered by like a little baby tadpole boy. Go masturbate to the thought of him and then go on a date with a real guy.
Yeah, I think as well it's so rare that people get flowers, and she's seeing it. She obviously must fancy him because she's seeing it as like, that's so cute. He knows my Starbucks order.
Right, and you were like, yikes.
Fucking creep.
I fired my last producer because he showed up at my house with a cake on my birthday.
Yeah.
Uninvited, unannounced. You're fired.
No,
you're terminated.
That's I think you're dead right.
I actually didn't fire him. I said if he ever did anything like that, I would.
Yeah.
And again, I would. And then he quit because he felt like I was accusing him of something. He's like, nothing is weird. Da 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 da. I was like, no. Like guys that I've been deeply in love with for years haven't shown up unannounced with a cake.
Yeah. I mean, my friends wouldn't do that.
Wouldn't do that. It's an invasion of privacy.
It's inappropriate.
And
it's not a work.
You're my employee.
Yeah. Oh no, and the fact that he then quit and got defensive means there was a fucking ulterior motive. So you wouldn't get so defensive.
You wouldn't care. You'd be like, oh my God, obviously, what a weird thing to do. I'm a dope.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that I made you feel uncomfortable. Let me respect your boundaries.
No, he was like, no, I can't believe you're saying that I would do that when nothing's weird. I'm not weird. You're weird.
Yeah. It's like, seems like you're weird. No. That's a big telltale, getting defensive.
Yeah.
Like, anytime if I feel defensive about something, I'm literally in my head, and I'll do this with my boyfriend. If he says something, I'll do the work in my head where I'm like, why am I feeling defensive about this? Oh, this is my issue. This is something from, or he's right.
Right. Or you're right. Or, or whatever you're saying to me, like, you're right, and I don't want to face it. Yeah,
like I'll slap him a lot, just like on the arm.
Yeah.
And he last night was like, and that's like a very Irish woman thing to be like, oh, okay, stop. And like, he was like, can you like stop slapping me? And in my head, I wanted to be like, shut up, you little pussy bitch. But I was like, no, I should stop slapping him.
I said it out loud.
I was like,
I hate you.
Fine.
I'll stop slapping you.
Like, and you want to be like, it's an Irish woman thing, but he's like, it doesn't matter. I don't like it.
Stop slapping me.
Yeah. He was like, it hurts.
Fine, I'll stop slapping you, baby.
Yeah, but that's totally inappropriate. God, I don't like. I had an ex, and he would turn up at my work all the time as like romantic, but I didn't know. No, it was like he felt like he was checking up. Or one time he asked me where I was, and I was like, he'd asked me to come over that night, and I was too tired after the show, so I was like, I'm just gonna go home. And then the next morning he texted me saying like, where are you? And I was like, I'm just at home. But then he turned up outside my house, but it was like a few minutes, like maybe 15 minutes afterwards. So he was checking.
He was already on his way.
He lived like an hour and a half away from me because he lived in Jersey.
Was totally already on. Oh my God.
So it was like, don't turn up in anybody's house unannounced. This isn't the fucking 90s.
How do you feel? Because like when I meet guys that aren't comics, they're, and if they like I can tell they like me, right? If they want to like see more of me, get to know more of me, they're always like, I'll come to your show. Yeah. Don't you want me to come to your show? And I now respond with, sure, can I come to your job? What time do you start? Can I come there?
Can I come and help you with the accounts?
Yeah, you probably want me to, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it's a twofold thing. It's one, the implication that I need your audienceship at my shows. Dude, these are sold out, baby.
Yeah.
You can't get a ticket. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it's an invasion a little bit of your privacy and your workspace. It's and I think that guys just automatically assume that we want that.
It's also like, now you want me to perform for you.
Right. So now I'm in a place where you're judging me and my material, because who knows if you really even fucking understand comedy, that it's satire, and you're going to take everything I say at face value, you fucking dope.
Yeah.
What if I bomb? I have new shit too. Like, it's not always great. And then you're also in a position to babysit while you're at work.
Yeah.
So,
and they're meeting everybody in your life. They're meeting your friends, your coworkers. No, I think it's ridiculous.
And me, the comic with the big mouth, big butt, and an Onlyfans, you don't think you're gonna get the shit roasted out of you if you're on do you think you're on a date with me at the comedy club? Sure, this is Derek Gaines. He's about to make you feel like a fucking idiot. Like, it's just, it's like an invasion, and it's like, there's a difference between, I think, like, hey, I'm gonna bring up maybe like a group of friends. That way you take the babysitting element out of it, right? They become the babysitter of their friends.
And now they're going to like, they're making a night of it. It's not a date. No, it can't be a date, and they're by themselves. And then they always, anytime I've had like a date at a comedy show when I was single, they always had this like proud ego thing about them, like that they're just like trying to be funny with the comedians, trying to sit back with the comedians.
Ugh.
I've been heckled by a date.
Totally.
And I went out and I was like, afterwards, I was like, this isn't going to work.
Get out of
And he was like, I was just trying to help, trying to be funny. And I was like, this date is over.
Every man on the planet thinks he's funny.
I know.
Legit. Every single man.
That's that, my favorite bit is now, because I have a new bit where I say that they roast me a lot on the internet. They get really upset, they get really offended, and it's because every man secretly wants to be a comedian. So they're like, this immigrant taking my job.
Exactly.
It's like my favorite right now, because it's my savior if it's an audience that aren't like, because every man most men are going to comedy shows and they're like sitting in the audience. They might be enjoying themselves, but they're also like, I can fucking do that.
Oh, they're easy. Oh man, if a girl can do that, I can do that. Yeah. I had my ex, who I dated for years, my entire 20s. Very toxic relationship. I quit drinking the first time during us. He's still drinking. He's in his late 40s. We broke up, and soon after we broke up, he tried to do comedy. He tried to do stand up, and I was still pretty like new at it, but I was starting to get booked. I might have been like passed at like one club, and he started going to open mics, and I actually initially helped him. I was like, hey, this is my ex, and I would tell like the person running the open mic at the Pine Box or something, I'm like, don't bury him in the lineup, like let him get up in the first 10 or whatever. I would help. And he failed miserably. He wasn't consistent, he wasn't good, you know. And I was so happy. I mean, I was elated. But there is that sense, even my fucking trust fund ex, who didn't have a funny bone in his body, who was clinically depressed, and it was like shoveling him out of a grave every morning. That's how I felt like when we were dating. The first week we were dating, he was like, I toyed with the idea of doing comedy.
Yeah, no.
You did? What?
It's literally every man that matches with a comedian on the internet as well. Really every female comic has, where they're like, have you advice about mics? I'm like, fuck off. I hate when I get those DMs as well. I'm like, do you think I have the time to respond? Google it.
Right.
Are you messaging men this?
I know.
Before you go, can I quickly ask, so are you still doing OnlyFans?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. Now it's like, there's not a lot of pressure with it. Mm-hmm. I guess not that there like ever really was, but like now it's I guess there was a time where I was like, oh man, I have to make content like this day to meet this goal and this and that. And now because of like YouTube and Instagram and everything, it's just so much more about volume than really having to like do a lot of like private message. Like I used to like sell a lot of videos. I still will. But now it's just like the numbers. Like I post something on YouTube that goes viral where I mention OnlyFans, I'll get like 500 new subs, you know? Yeah. And they might fall off after a month because I don't do like anything hardcore on there.
Yeah. What's not hardcore?
Like I just get naked. Like,
oh, great. I love that.
There's no blowjobs. There's no other people. It's just me.
Yeah.
There might be a couple vibrator videos floating around, but like that's as dirty as I get.
Yeah.
Something that's been happening to me recently is, I think, and I could be wrong, I think like, and there's two guys that I've sort of been like flirting with lately, like messaging, like very flirtatious. I'm fairly certain both of them subscribed. And I think one of them messaged me. I don't respond to any messages. I have literally 9,000 unread messages. I just don't do that. It's not in my repertoire. But I think that this guy is irritated that I didn't get back to him and now isn't talking to me on this other platform.
You're talking to him. You're talking to the real person, not the subscriber.
I think he's such a narcissist that I called him like daddy, like in a message, and then I got a daddy sub who's like, you can call me daddy, and I ignored him because I ignore everyone.
Yeah.
I think that he really thinks like he's like, fuck her, she's not gonna get back to me on OnlyFans. I'm like, you really think you're the only daddy, you fucking idiot? How many daddies do you think are sitting in my inbox right now?
Who does he think he is? Pedro Pascal. I love stats.
Is that from The Last of Us? What is it called?
Yeah, he's a zaddy apparently.
Yeah, he is a zaddy.
Oh my god. I love him so much.
He's so big and strong.
And like he got better looking as he got older. I don't usually like older men, but he's like, whew. Anyway, but yeah, no, that's ridiculous. And that's also a guy you probably couldn't handle that you have OnlyFans because he's feeling threatened that you're not responding there. He's probably spiraling. She's responding to others. Like, fuck off.
And then I think, because I'm talking to this other like MMA fighter, and I think he messaged me too. And if he messaged me any BG, which means any boy girl, and I'm like, and I of course ignored that too.
What does any boy girl mean?
Like any like sex videos.
Oh my god, I'd be so bad at OnlyFans. I know a few boys. I know a few ladies. So. No, that's great. How many subscribers do you have on OnlyFans?
It fluctuates now. I think I'm like around like 2,000.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, remember when Kerryn was like making the most money in the pandemic and we were all failing? And you're like, calling it.
I mean, I'm wondering what's going to happen with all these banks and the economy and stuff.
Should I move my money out of the bank? There's some shit going on right now in the bank.
I mean, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't know.
Stressed out.
Chase, you better keep your shit together.
Yeah, Chase, I'm with you as well.
Ugh.
I'm going to look up, I'm going to listen to a financial podcast later and try to figure it out.
I think like they're going to bail out this Silicon Valley Bank. I follow Dave Smith, who's like a libertarian and smarter than me and seems to know a lot about economics.
Yeah.
And he is warning that like a bailout is very much like a Band-Aid for a bigger problem.
Jesus.
And if everybody starts taking their money out, it's going to be kind of wild.
All of my money is in Chase. Fuckity fuck.
Me too.
Okay. Well, on that note, where can the people from Ireland who probably already follow you?
I love you, Irish people. Check out my podcast, Onlyfans. New episodes every Friday on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel because I put a lot of shorts and stand-up and other content up there. Onlyfans also is a Patreon, so check that out. We put extended episodes up sometimes. I don't know. Pat's supposed to be working on a crowd work special, but whatever. Follow me on Instagram at Kerryn Feehan, and same thing on Twitter.
I would love to see your crowdwork special. I'd say it's hilarious.
Yeah, Pat. It's just Pat.
I could see you roasting the fuck
He's
out
too
of the
busy
audience.
working for you.
I know, he's working for everybody right now.
Shit.
There's like a level. There's like Chris,
Cheers.
blah 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 blah, Katie, blah blah blah. I'm hoping there's blah blah blahs underneath. Okay, Pat. I better not be. No, he's killing it.
There's plenty of.
Speaking of Pat, make sure to follow Pat. As usual, he's in the description, and we being me. I don't know why I talk about myself as if I have multiple personalities. I have a Patreon. It's called It's Patreon.com/The Shift Podcast. I put bonus episodes. So I've talked about The Last of Us, talked about Colin Kuhn, talked about Good Luck Leo Grand. Also, my more private stuff. So it's kind of like my OnlyFans, but for words. Stuff that I'm afraid to talk about on here. I usually cut out some of the stuff on the regular episodes that I've gone, whoops, shared too much about my family there. So come across, I'll usually put in a timestamp where it is. And then yeah, so I'll rate, review, all of that, please. I keep asking you, and you aren't doing it.
Come on.
Yeah.
You're probably watching. Subscribe, rate, review.
And then the folklore video, that's up on the Patreon as well. And then the videos are always up a week early, and full videos up. What else should I say? I think that's it. I love you all. And yeah, just, yeah. I don't know. Goodbye. Thank you. Oh, no. One last thing. Oh, I did want to say this because I got these earrings, and it's a Janie Mac, and my stepmom got them for me as a present, and then I looked it up because I wanted to buy more, and it's actually Irish on Etsy. So if there's Irish people listening, go support this person because it's so cute. And this is not a paid ad. They don't know who the fuck I am. But and next week I'll wear my Blot and Ennis earrings. So I can't wear them, but I'll show because that's another Irish, and they're both great. Okay, love yous, bye.